Sound going. Camera going for the last time, because if this somehow doesn't work, I'm not gonna make it. Hello there, my name is Jeremy, and sometimes I like to take pictures. In 2022, I posted over 100 photos onto the internet, some of which got upwards of 7 likes. Now in this video, I'm just going to be talking about my 10 favorites from 2022, but if you're at all interested in seeing more of the photos that I take, there will be a link to my Instagram in the description. With your help, maybe my next post will even get 8 likes. This is my 3rd time trying to make this video. The first time I didn't narrow it down to 10 and instead was just talking about every photo that I liked, which made the video extremely long. I was also wearing this coat that I thought I liked at the time when I bought it, and now every time I put it on I feel like a moron. The second time I tried to make this video, the autofocus on my camera decided that it really was more enamored with my microphone instead of the face that was filling the entire frame. But they say 3rd time's the charm, so let's give this another go. Now this isn't going to be ordered like a normal top 10, this is just going to be the order in which that I took them in. But if you have a favorite, feel free to let me know in the comments down below. If you have a least favorite, keep it to yourself. There's a lot of fields around here that I think are for rice or something, and every year they get filled up with water so that the rice or something can grow or something. I really should know, but I have no idea. Anyway, the point is, when there's water in those fields, it makes for perfect reflections. And to give you a good example of that, here is a photo of some reflections. Not a single cloud in the sky, which is sort of the norm around here, unfortunately. There's a long stretch from late spring to like early fall that some people would probably just call summer, where clouds might as well just be a myth. The pink to blue gradient in the sky, though, I think is nice, and clouds for this picture would probably make the sky a bit too busy anyway with all the wires and poles everywhere. The way that they're reflected off the water sort of reminds me of like a waveform, the way that it kind of goes like this. I don't know another way to describe it other than doing a hand movement. It goes like that. Are you following? Now, before I took that picture, it had been a few months since I had even gone out with my camera, but I was so pleased with this one that it really lit a fire under my ass for the rest of the year, which I think that expression means made me want to do it more. If that's not what lit a fire under my ass means, I used it wrong. I love a damn road, man. Like, it might be an easy subject, but there's just so many damn roads everywhere that it's hard not to stop and just take a picture of one every once in a while. And that's exactly what I did when I took a picture of this damn road. The gold light reflecting off the asphalt, car perfectly positioned on the curve, the path winding and disappearing between the layers of hills. Ooh, baby, I was honestly pretty stoked. And I spent so long in Lightroom trying to get this one right, and when I finally got it to a place I was happy with, I posted it online and came back the next day to just admire it again and thought, does this look like piss? Like, are the colors a little piss colored? I honestly have no idea anymore, but I love a damn road, man. I was out walking my dog one night when I noticed that the moon was pretty full and pretty low on the horizon. Now, usually we go out at around the same time every night for our walk, so the next night I took my camera and tripod with me with the goal of trying to frame the moon between some trees. I thought that might be kind of cool. And I got something pretty close when I ended up with this picture, which is actually not the picture that I'm here to show you, is more of like a lead-in to the main picture of this little segment. The thing is, that night my camera was on the tripod, like I said, which is something I don't normally do. Usually when I go out with my camera, I'm just freehanding it, kind of snapping whatever catches my attention, and then I pick the good ones once I'm back at my desk. But I needed it this night because if you're not super familiar with the intricacies of photography, when it's really dark, you need the camera completely still to take a clear picture. Like, the darker it is, the longer the picture needs to be taken for, essentially. Now, the picture I just showed you was a 10-second exposure, meaning I took it over 10 seconds. I did do another attempt right before that, where I had the camera in a little bit of a different spot, and about halfway through taking the pictures, I don't know why, I just suddenly changed my mind about what I was doing, and I just picked the whole thing up and moved it somewhere else, while it was still taking its exposure. And what I ended up with was this. It's kind of fucked, but I kind of really like it. The moon looks like it's falling out of the sky onto a bunch of trees that are out of focus with the ghosts of other trees behind them. A bunch of little light trails zipping around on the bottom that kind of look like nonsense, but I think help add to the visual chaos of the picture because, I mean, the moon is falling out of the sky. It would be pretty chaotic. The bluish, purpley, orange sky, I don't know. I'm just kind of into the whole thing. I think it looks pretty cool, which it was completely by accident, but sometimes things work out that way. Milky Way season was in full effect by this point, so about a week later I took my camera out again with the goal of trying to get a shot of the Milky Way core, which is the brightest part of the Milky Way galaxy and is only visible in our sky for a few months out of the year. I had bought a new lens exclusively for the purpose of taking Milky Way pictures on a upcoming camping trip that I had, but spoilers, there was clouds in the sky every night and I didn't end up getting any Milky Way pictures on that trip. Unlike the week before, there was no more full moon out in the sky, so it was a lot darker, which made it a lot harder to frame. But after a few different tries, I ended up with this. The lines of the track leading up to the faint light of the Milky Way core in the sky. Also, there's a telephone pole over here. It kind of helps balance the whole thing out, I think. Not the most ideal conditions to take a Milky Way picture in, honestly, because there was a town in that direction. You can see the light of it on the horizon, which was washing out the Milky Way a bit, making it not as clear as it would have been on, I don't know, say a camping trip far away from the artificial light of humanity, but I can't control clouds and there's not really anything I can do about that. So this ended up being the only picture of the Milky Way that I got all year, but I'm happy with it. And I really like the colors on this one too. The lens produces some really nice colors. The reds, greens, and blues I think all look beautiful in this photo. Now in August, I took a trip down to LA to see the US premiere of the latest Masaaki Yuasa movie, Inuo. I liked it. I did like it. Not as much as everyone else seemed to have liked it, but this isn't a video about anime opinions, this is a video about my pictures. If you want a separate video about me talking about anime and what I feel about specific anime, I won't make that. Anyway, that's all just to say this next picture is from that LA trip. I noticed these heads while my friends and I were walking around because the movie didn't start for another couple hours, and I really like them. I also like the purple flowers up top too. It's adding a little bit of my favorite color to the mix. I also really like the way that the wall on the right side just kind of cuts everything else out of the picture except for this little stem of leaves that kind of breaks out and exits right of frame. It's been months, but this picture of heads is just still rattling around in my head, which was, you know, that earned it a spot in the top 10. Not much else to say about it. Now those rice or whatever fields that I mentioned at the start of the video, birds fucking love those things. And in the fall, when they're on their migration paths, they'll take time out of their day to just sit in them for hours, which makes a great opportunity to take some pictures featuring birds, like this one. Sun framed right in the middle, nearly halfway set below the mountains on the horizon. Single bright cloud over it that's reflected on the water below. Birds flying almost perfectly in the space between the sun and the darker clouds up top that sort of mirror the completely silhouetted ground in the foreground. It makes kind of like a frame around the whole thing, with a few more birds up top that are just breaking free from the scene. Great oranges and yellows. I don't really have any personal complaints about this one. The birds are even in focus, thank fucking God. In mid-December, a fog started to roll in, like the really thick kind that doesn't dissipate with the rising sun, which only happens a few times a year, so you gotta take the chance to run out with the camera, right? And I did. I grabbed my camera, I ran out, and I ended up with this. Now, I'll tell you a little secret about this one. I might have been standing in a place that I wasn't supposed to be. You see, I wanted to get right up to the water in the field, and to get there, I had to hop over this muddy ditch that I almost lost my fucking shoe in, but thank God I did not. So that's, that's a little secret. That's between us. The misty fog over the water with the light of the sun barely breaking through, but not intensely enough to actually brighten the whole thing. The hues of brown and tan almost completely taking over, but with just a hint of blue up in the top of the frame. I'm very happy with this one. I've been considering printing it out and framing it here and just hanging it up in my room. I think I've got some space. I may or may not do that in the future. Now, this next picture is a little bit uncharacteristic of my usual pictures. Despite sitting here for however fucking long talking about myself, I really don't want to take pictures of myself. But one night, as I was just getting ready to go to bed, I was struck by my one lamp that was near my bed. It was on. It was set pretty dim, and behind it, through the curtains, you could see these Christmas lights. They were hanging from the awning. They were just shining through. And it really caught my attention. So instead of going to bed, I pulled out my camera and my tripod, and I started trying to capture what I saw. That's what pictures are. What a useless description, but that's what I did. After a few different tries, I realized I was gonna need a person in the picture to complete the scene, and the only person around was me, so I threw myself in there and ended up with this. The light is really everything for me on this one. The thick strip of shadow that runs along the right side down to me sort of reminds me of the wall from the LA picture of the heads, except instead of leaves breaking out of the frame, it's me laying there breaking out of the frame. And it's a little more organic because instead of a solid wall, it's just all because of lights and shadows, which I think is cool. I did a few different tries without a phone in my hand, but it made the whole bottom left of the frame way too dark in a way that I wasn't into. And plus, with the phone in my hand, now you get to see some of the Ranma volumes on my shelf there. But this isn't a video where I'm talking about manga, this is a video where I'm talking about pictures. If you want a separate video where I talk about manga and my opinions on various manga, I won't make that. I won't do that. Anyway, the warm light of the lamp paired with the Christmas lights reminding you that it is cold outside, I think helped make for a really cozy feeling. Got my St. John's wort up there, who knows if that even works, and my noise machine. If there was one small change I could make to this picture, I would have probably set my noise machine to on. It's not. But this is a picture and you can't hear anything, so I don't think it really matters that much. I think it still perfectly captures the vibe of being up way too late on your phone, but it's okay because you don't really have to wake up early the next morning anyway. I did have to wake up early the next morning, which was a problem because it took me about 90 minutes to figure this picture out and then go on the computer and edit it because I just wanted to get it done. I shouldn't have done that. I regret that. Oh, and I do want to take a little second just to show you what was on my phone to make it so bright, and that was this. So now you know that. Now, the last two pictures are admittedly pretty similar. They're both from the same morning. You see, that fog that I mentioned before ended up sticking around for a few days, and on Christmas morning, it was particularly thick. I didn't have any immediate obligations that morning, so I grabbed my camera and I went out for some fun. Usually when I go out with my camera, I completely leave town, drive around for a while until I find something. Maybe this is a relatable feeling to other hobbyist photographers out there, but I don't want people that are gonna know, like could potentially know who I am, see me out and about with my camera walking around town. I don't know, it feels weird. It feels strange. But with the combination of the thick fog and it being Christmas morning, where who's gonna go outside early Christmas morning, I felt more comfortable doing that. So I did, and it was a lot of fun. I had a great time. In the original recording of this video, I ended up showing like 7 pictures from that morning, which I do really like them all. Again, you can check them out if you like. But I managed to narrow it down to just 2, and we're gonna just kick it off with this one. The big dark tree on one side of the fence with the row of trees on the other forming a path leading out into the foggy unknown. Black and white for drama. I think I was a bit too excited in the moment though, because I apparently couldn't keep still. I didn't have my tripod with me. I never do, like I mentioned. So if you get real close on this picture, you'll see that nothing really is that in focus, but I don't think it matters that much. I still really like it. And for the final picture in this video, I present to you a panorama. There's a lot of orchards around here, and I've never really been able to figure out how to take what I consider to be a good picture of them, but with the fog dropping out the background, I finally got a result that I'm really happy with. I've thought about printing this one out and framing it because I think it would look really cool blown up big, but it's a 4x1 panorama, so the print size would have to be what, like 10 by 40, 15 by 60? I don't know where I would put it. So for now, that's just a pipe dream, and it'll have to remain pixels on a screen. And that's it. Those are my 10 personal favorite pictures that I took in 2022. Again, like I mentioned at the start, originally this video was going to be talking about like 40 pictures. So I do have a lot more that I like from last year, and if you're interested in seeing them, the link to my Instagram is in the description. And that's the video. Thank you so much for watching if you made it all the way to the end. And here's to a wonderful 2023.